Hi, I'm Eva B, and I'm going to show you how to make my famous zucchini noodle lasagna. It is by far my client's favorite dish, so I can't wait to show you how to make it so you can make it at home with what you have. I typically use passata, so just strained tomato puree in this dish. But my garden is kind of overflowing with tomatoes, so I'm going to show you how to make a quick sauce before I get started with the other components. I'm just gonna add some boiling water to these tomatoes. Now you'll see that there's a little X at the bottom of them. That's just to ensure that the tomato skins start peeling, so I don't have to start kind of searching for where to start peeling. It's been about 30 seconds. You can see where the skin is peeling, so I'm going to simply just peel the skin off. Look how easy that is. Personally, I don't like tasting the skin. It's like kind of chewy, no bueno. So I'm going to discard that and then simmer these tomatoes until it comes to a consistency that I like for my lasagna. Just doing a rough chop and I'll let the heat do the rest. And intermittently, if you want to get the tomatoes going a bit, just give them a little mash with your spoon. So the tomato sauce is looking just the way I like it. I'm going to transfer this out of the pot. In addition to not wanting any skin on this sauce, I want no seeds. So I've pressed all of this cooked tomato through a fine mesh sieve. I'm lucky enough to have some Italian in-laws that graciously gave me their homemade sausage, so that's gonna be a key feature in this dish. You can just buy any generic Italian sausage, but just take the skin off before you start cooking. I'm gonna cut this with a little bit of ground beef as well, and for a little extra fiber and protein, I'm gonna put some lentils in it too. It also bulks it up, saves some money, but by all means, make this a full meat dish if you want. So now that the meat is browned, I'm just gonna add the tomato sauce, some fresh herbs, whatever you have. I love a blend of oregano and dried basil when it's winter time, but I'm gonna take advantage of my garden herbs. Now that all the ingredients for my sauce are simmering away, I'm gonna get started on my zucchini noodles. So zucchini noodles are not always as delicious as maybe some grain-free, low-carb advocates would like you to believe, but rest assured that these zucchini noodles work perfectly for this casserole lasagna. So I'm gonna be using a mandolin for the zucchini just to get these perfect ribbons, but I assure you that if you do it properly and use the proper safety guard on it, it'll be super simple and you'll get perfect noodles every time. I should note that the size and shape of your zucchini that you choose for this recipe is kind of important. You want one that is very straight, no like weird knobs or bends, not for this anyway. Definitely don't be afraid to buy vegetables that are misshapen and not evenly shaped. But for this, it really does help that they're long, you get even strips, and it's easier to assemble that way. You also don't want a zucchini that's too big. Bigger zucchinis tend to have tougher seeds in the middle, and that just won't give you enough zucchini flavor or starchiness for this lasagna. So now that I've cut my zucchini noodles, I'm gonna just lay them out so they're not overlapping, and between each layer, I'm gonna just salt them. Salting the zucchini extracts any excess moisture. I don't want this lasagna to get waterlogged. If I just put this together like so, without salting them and draining out the water, it would just get into a soupy mess, and I definitely don't want that, so don't skip this step. The paper towel and the tea towels will just start absorbing any excess zucchini juice that comes out from salting it. Now I'm going to mandolin some sweet potato. I find that sweet potato adds a starchiness that is missing with a zucchini noodle lasagna. So I love to add this kind of between the layers, and I swear my clients don't even notice it. It just kind of incorporates itself really nicely. The trick though is, again, to carefully mandolin nice thin slices of sweet potato. The sweet potato, I don't need to salt. Now I'm gonna make this a dairy-free lasagna. Wanna see how? Okay, I'm obviously gonna show you. So it's very simple. I'm gonna mix some eggs with some optional nutritional yeast and ground almonds. Again, hear me out. It's a little strange, but this is my client's favorite recipe. You have to try this. This is especially good for those in your family who can't tolerate dairy. And even if you do, you can always sprinkle a little Parmesan on top after you're done baking this and just enjoy the best of both worlds. Okay, it looks like I have all the components I need to start assembling. A little bit of cooking oil in this pan allows for the lasagna to not stick along the edges. However, not 100% necessary, optional, up to you. Look at how much liquid came off of the zucchini. If I didn't salt this zucchini, this lasagna would take me hours in the oven to just get it to not be mushy and gross. I'm not overlapping the noodles too much, but I definitely don't want to have too much space between the noodles. Blotting the noodles at this stage with dry paper towel also removes any excess salt I don't want. Now my cheesy tasting binding agent. I mean, that sounds very scientific, but it's kind of what it is. Oh, I love that. The perfect amount. Now for the middle of my lasagna, I'm gonna put any pieces that aren't a perfect length, like this one. I do have a few extra pieces. I'm gonna just save that for another dish. Maybe I'll toss it with some lemon juice, some dill, and serve it with some chicken. Sounds pretty good. Or there's this really good Serbian dish where you dip it in flour, egg, and breadcrumb and fry it. Oh my God, it's so good. Okay, my husband just says that's what he wants, so I'll do it. At this stage, as I flatten it out, it'll just allow it to bake evenly. I'm gonna cook my lasagna for about an hour. If you're making this at home, definitely check up on it. You don't want it to be so hot that the top is burning, but the inside is still a little liquidy. One benefit to having the sweet potato in it is that when you put a knife through in the middle and it's still hard, like your knife is still hitting the sweet potato, that means it's not cooked. If you were to pull it out at this point, not only would you get hard bits of sweet potato, but you would also get there's just a little too much liquid from the sauce and the lasagna. It hasn't incorporated properly, so just turn down the oven temperature slightly and keep a close look. So I know my lasagna is done because it's really firm to the touch, and when I slide a knife through, I don't feel any resistance from the sweet potato. Letting your lasagna sit for 5 to 10 minutes allows it to set so it doesn't fall apart when you're serving it. Let me just show you something really cute that my husband told me about his dad. So he has really fond memories of his dad giving him peach slices soaked in red wine. And I gotta say, this is like a really quick way to get a sangria vibe on your dinner table without having to blend like 5 ingredients. You just let the peaches soak in the red wine while you're cooking dinner and you got a quick dessert. Again, I'm Eva B. You can find out more information about my services at evabee.com. That's EVABEE.com. I'm also extremely, maybe a little too active on Instagram, so that's at Chef Eva B. and I'll be waiting for your questions there. Please feel free to send me a message. Any questions you have about this lasagna recipe, I'd be happy to answer.